In the last presentation, we saw the high levels of chemical exposure from chemicals to the babies. In this presentation, we look at preparing for pregnancy, how we can avoid this toxic exposure. We have to if you're planning to have a child in the future, then it's makes sense that you're going to prepare your body to try and free yourself up from some of these chemicals. So we'll look at ways to minimize your baby's exposure to chemicals in this short presentation. A preconception protocol for both mother and father. It's important that in today's world where there's so much chemicals in our food and exposure in the environment, that we do some kind of detoxification prior to conception. So really that year before you're even planning to have a baby, both mother and father should be looking at ways to detoxify themselves, trying to improve their diet. So upgraded nutrition is a big one. Eating organic, so avoiding all those pesticides and herbicides from the diet can be an important step in the right direction, so that you're reducing the amount of chemicals in your body. We know actually that recently that some of the farmers that are using these pesticides have been taken, the large corporations that run these that make these pesticides. They've developed neurological problems. These farmers, some of them have chronic illnesses as a result of, and also neurological problems like memory loss and brain degeneration from exposure to pesticides. So really you need to be eating organic. You can pick out the ones, certain fruits and vegetables are more have much higher levels of pesticides. If you go online, you can look for the dirty dozen. So there's the dirty dozen, the higher levels of pesticides, and then there are ones which are less. So if eating organic is something that's an economic issue, you can pick the ones that have the highest pesticide exposure, and those that have lower ones you can buy non-organic. But if you buy your organic produce directly from the farm, whereby they deliver it to your door, you can make savings compared to buying your organic food in the supermarket. So shop around, you can find cheaper organic foods around. Also in the supermarkets they have offers and things like that. Next we look at avoiding heavy metals. This is a big one. So nowadays cookware, so we have Teflon pans, and these pans, depending on how they're made and the quality that of the pans is, they can release heavy metals into the food. So we are getting heavy metal exposure from these cookware, from coffee pots, from cosmetics. We discussed this a little bit more in detail later on, but cosmetics, we know that within these cosmetics like lipsticks, there is a large, there are trace elements of lead. We know that actually over a woman's lifetime that she will consume quite a large quantity of lead through lipstick. So these are not things that are totally obvious, but over time these things build up, these heavy metals build up, and then they can cause problems with conception, and actually giving fertility issues, and also birth defects and neurological issues during pregnancy. So it's best to try and look at ways to try and switch some of your beauty and cleaning products. In the next presentation, we're going to be looking at ways to try and change some of those dangerous chemicals, try and get them out of your home, so that you can reduce that toxic burden on yourself and also on your family. So this is something we'll be looking at, but also deodorants as well as another one, which is we found that deodorants, like especially spray deodorants, they're made with aluminum. The cans, this aluminum leaches into the spray, and we know that, like for instance, in this aluminum is getting underneath the arms, for deodorants. Actually, they found that when they tested cancer cells in breast cancer, that they found when they opened up the tumors and they dissected them, they found high levels of aluminum in the tumors of the breast cancer tumors. So these metals are getting in. There is a transfer over from within the cans into the body, and we know that the aluminum also affects the baby. For every day of exposure for a newborn that is exposed to aluminum, their IQ drops by 1%. So this is huge. We need to be looking at trying to reduce that. Later on, we'll look at ways you can switch over to a roll-on deodorant of some kind. So there's alternatives out there. Again, with fireproofing and textiles, it's important to check the labels on everything and see what's in them there, so that you can switch over time. I'm not saying that you'll have to do this like drastically, but gradually you just become more aware of what's out there, and the dangers of these things. Next, we look at smoking. Again, smoking and alcohol. These are like complete no-nos, in the terms of like during pregnancy, before and after. You want to try and reduce these, like if you're even considering having children. Next, we look at flu vaccines. Again, comes down to the heavy metals exposure. So very often, mother will have a flu vaccine during pregnancy, and she will be exposed to quite high, like very high levels. They say up to about 400 milligrams of aluminium for a flu shot. So this is particularly high levels, and there's still more and more research being done on the effects of these metals during pregnancy. It's really we need to look at these, and we need to weigh up a flu vaccine. If you're living a healthy life with a strong immune system, you will very, very rarely get over colds and flus. In my own experience, I know that if you have a healthy, good diet and exercise, you literally won't really get sick. So looking at flu vaccines are something that are rolled out to try and scare people. So we really need to be vigilant. If you are really prone to flus, have a look at ways to try and boost your immune system. And there are herbs and upgraded nutrition which will really affect the frequency at which you get colds and flus. So yes, do some research and see what's best for you. Next, we look at cleaning products. In the next presentation, we'll go into more depth about how to replace some of the more chemically laden cleaning products and switch those out for more natural, traditional approaches to cleaning. And the next, skin and hair care products. We've gone into that a little bit already, but again, it's about switching out the bad stuff and replacing it with safer, cleaner, and more friendly to the body and to the environment. Okay, See you in the next presentation for cleaning products.